great. Want to ask questions? You want me to talk?
Talk.
I'm about talked out. Well, I think today our guys exemplified what Coach Cronin's built this program on from day one. Supreme toughness, man. And one of the things that, as we wrote on the board to begin, as I was talking to them before the game, was that if we missed shots, if we made shots, no matter what happened on the offensive end, we had to keep defending and rebounding. If we did that, we'd have a chance to win the game. And it wasn't always perfect, and we gave up, a few baskets that we can take away, hopefully in the future. But overall, they kept defending and rebounding, and we found enough offense to get some separation and win. And obviously, Farad Kai came up big. Octavius Ellis made a huge jump shot, late in the game. But the guys, they played as a group on both ends, and again, they just showed supreme toughness and stuck with the foundation of what we built it on, which is defensive rebounding, and hopefully again we continue to get better offensively. I knew today I would have been shocked today if we'd have scored in the 70s today, because they're a very, very good defensive team. They're going to limit you, and at halftime I thought we would have a chance to win. I wasn't, even though we were down 3, the fact that we got down 8 and didn't fold up to 10, and we had 12 turnovers in the first half. We're only down 3. I knew if we would cut that down and get enough of those possessions that we'd score enough times that we'd have a chance to win. So I wasn't overly worried at halftime. The only thing I really jumped them really hard about at halftime was you cannot turn the ball over, guys, and win. You can't, not against this team, okay? Because it's going to be a low possession game both ways. And, we cut it to 6. The second half was still too many, but, we did enough to get enough shots up and win, and ask me questions from there.
You guys have played a lot of the matchup zone, but it looked like a lot of man-to-man tonight. Was it just something, and seeing what they were doing, that you thought the man would work better?
That's part of the matchup zone. Part of the zone is you playing man within that, and at times we were playing man. So we go back and forth between the two, try to confuse you, try to stunt and do some different things. So, the kids have bought into what we're doing defensively, and they're trying to get better at it. And talk's the big key. When you hear them talking out there, you hear 3 or 4 guys talking, we're going to be pretty good at it, because then we don't miss assignments, we get our switches, we get to where we need to. And I knew today the guy on the other end down there can coach a little bit, just a little bit. He won an NBA championship and a national championship. You knew that he wasn't going to just sit back and run his own offense and let it be that, because that was going to be too easy. You knew he was going to come with some stuff, and he did. And we made enough adjustments to get there. We let him have too much stuff inside, even though we're trying to take away Nick Moore and number 4, Frazier, which we did a pretty good job of overall. But you can't let them score inside, because they get guys that can score inside.
You mentioned inside, their big guy, Herrera. He had 9 points in the first half. I don't think he got a shot in the second half. Was there anything that you did to limit him in particular?
Well, at halftime, one of the things I told the post guys, look, it's on you guys on both ends. If you're going to continue to let them push you and shove you out of the post, and we can't get post-ups and that, then we're going to struggle to win. We're going to struggle to score, guys. You got to be ready to battle. And then on the defensive end, you can't let it go in there so easy. We were letting it go in way too easy. And so, we did a little bit better job, I think, the second half of keeping it out of there. Now, the problem was we let Ryan Manuel drive the ball. A guy can't shoot. We let him drive the ball and get layups, which we can't do. And the second time we play these guys, we can't do that, for sure.
Larry, did Coach Cronin text you at halftime, and if so, what did he say?
He texted me at halftime and said, stay positive, you only got to win by 1. Keep them positive, you only got to win by 1. Because I think he knew, because again, we held them to 22 points. It wasn't like they had 35. We held them to 22 because we turned it over so much. If we just settled down and didn't do that, that we'd have a great chance in the second half to win, which we did.
That steal and dunk by Gary, how much was that, along with Farad, the way he was shooting, just a big momentum boost in the middle of the second half?
Momentum boost, and you know what it was? It was a freshman who listened in the timeout. Because what they were doing, they were crossing their two wings and they were flashing their post guys. And I said to him, don't let that pass go to the post guy easy. And Gary listened to the timeout and he poked it away and went down and stole it. I mean, you know, when you got your guys locked in and they're listening and they can do those kind of things, they can convert it. You know, we don't always do that, but when they can convert it to once you talk to them in a timeout and they can make the adjustment, then you're going to have a chance to win, because, again, those are winning plays, and that was a big momentum booster there. They did it. You know, you look and you say, well, Gary only had 8 points. Well, 8 points in a 50-point game is a lot of points. You know, for odds, 18 is like getting 30 in an 80-point game. I mean, it is. And, you know, same way with Tay. So he continues to be steady and play well.
Any advantage to keeping Farad Cobb on the bench and coming off the bench and not as a starter?
Well, here's the problem. He's a point guard and Troy's a point guard. If you start them and play them both, you got a chance to get them both tired at the same time, and you got a chance to get them both in foul trouble at the same time. You can't have that happen. And you know, there's also a thing called subbing to strength. And when you got a guy like Farad who can bring you some offense, make some shots and that, you know, it's a good guy to bring off the bench, and he's settled into that role. He early on, you know, he got caught up like some guys do a little bit, and I don't think he understood why we were doing it. We've talked to him, coaches talked to him, I've talked to him, and he's now accepting it, and he understands that, hey, we can't get both of you in foul trouble at the same time, and we can play this way, you know, and he brings us some spark, you know, off the bench as well. So, you know, I like him in that role. I do. I like him in the role. I think he's real effective.
Second game in a row, you've taken away a strength in three-point shooting for the opponent. Different today because of, you know, they do things a little differently, but talk about taking away not only Moore, who does it off the dribble, but Frazier, who is a catch-and-shoot guy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's what you call great awareness. You know, our guys are always talking, where's he at? Where's he at? Shoot him my side. It's easy on our end in the first half because we're there and we can help them with it. You go to that other end, they can't hear you. My voice is gone by then anyway, and all the guys on the bench's voice are gone. So great awareness to know where he was at all times, and then great awareness, you know, with Nick Moore. He's a guy, he's a ball handling shooter is what he is. He uses his ball handling to get himself free off a ball screen, get some space, and shoot it in. And again, for the most part, we did a pretty good job on that. We got lost a couple times in transition, didn't get him. Late in the game, you know, we gave up a couple, but overall, you know, and again, that's our guys' awareness and following the scouting report. And I told you guys in a couple of press conferences now, we got, in our staff, we got tremendous guys can scout, man. Those guys are on it. They can scout. They know what they're doing. And it makes your job a lot easier when you're the head coach to have guys like that are so locked in. And the hours they spend, guys, you can't imagine the hours that all of our guys spend in scouting. And so, you know, we had to blow them up one time in the huddle, you know, on a couple things. Hey, that's in the scouting report. You can't let a guy do that. He might do something else, but you can't let a guy do that because that's in the scouting report. And when we take those things away, it's just like, you know, I thought, to be honest with you, in the Nebraska game, the kid number 4, I remember his name, he was like 1 for 15 coming into the game, and he jumped up and made one.
Rivers.
And we panicked a little bit, and we fouled him twice, running out and chasing him. The game plan on him was to close short, okay? You got to get your kids to buy into, okay, that, look, over the course of time, a guy that's not a shooter is not going to suddenly, he might make one, but he ain't going to suddenly become a guy that makes 4 or 5. And a guy that's not a driver, and you can crowd and take his shot away, you got to do that. He's not going to suddenly beat you on the dribble. Post guy that always turns to his left shoulder, if he turns the other way and makes one, okay, you can't panic. You got to keep making him turn that other way. And our guys have done that for the most part. And if we keep doing that, following the scout and that kind of stuff, you know, we'll be in every game with a chance to win.
With the announcement that Nick is going to be out the rest of the year, and this being the first conference game since that announcement, and a relatively young team, what do you think this win means in that locker room for those guys? Huge confidence builder, and huge. You gotta, if you want to try to win the conference, and that's our goal every year. And that's not going to change, no matter who's sitting up here, me, Mick,
whoever. If I keel over and Darren takes over and he keels over and Antoine takes over, winning the conference championship ain't gonna change, okay? Winning at home and winning against they're going to be one of the best teams in the league, guys. The league championship will go through them, okay, at some point. They'll be one of the 3 teams that's going to go through, 3 or 4 teams that's going to go through. So, be able to start out 1-0 the conference against one of the best teams in the conference and holding home serve, it's huge. And big for their confidence as well.
Coach also mentioned yesterday he wants to make you conference coach of the year. How did he what was the communication with you two over the last 24 hours to help him do that?
Well, we scheme and game plan all the way up, to the last practice, and coaches, he's watching maybe more film than he's ever watching, and he's breaking down, and because he has more time on his hand now, he can do a lot more edits and stuff himself, and he's got our young film guys going crazy because he's making an edit of everything, which is great, but he's analyzing it, and he comes to me and whoever has the scout and our whole staff and says, hey, look, here's what I see, here's my thoughts on it, and we, a collaboration of us, we decide how we're going to guard, how we're going to defend, and how we think we can best score. And, so he's heavily involved, guys. He's there, and he's on the phone recruiting, and, I'm excited about that part of it. He can call recruits now, and so, which, will help us. And, he's just got to assure everybody he's going to be fine, he'll be back, and, he's doing that, and he will be. And but to answer your question, right up till game time, he's with us. This morning now, when it comes a few hours before game, he always texts me and says, "Hey, trust yourself, do your thing," and then he leaves me alone. Halftime, he always gives us something, and but again, up till the day of the game, he's involved with scheming and planning what we're going to do.
Just double checking, he was not here in the building for the day, okay.
He texted me and said, he goes, you had it all the way, I was napping. That's what he texted me.
Coach, how do you feel now? It's been a little while since you were a head coach at Furman, and now what does it feel like to get back into the saddle as a head coach now for multiple games? Do you feel like you're getting into a rhythm?
Yeah, I mean, I feel better about it. I feel more confident in what I'm doing in that, again, because it takes a while to make that adjustment. And, I got great kids to work with, so that makes your job a lot easier. And I'm having fun. I mean, it's a hard job. There's a lot, people say there's pressure on you. I addressed that yesterday. I mean, yeah, it's pressure, but not, I mean, like I said, pressure's in Afghanistan, with troops. That's pressure, man. This is basketball. And while you want to win and all that kind of stuff, you can't forget to enjoy the ride as you go. And I've had a couple guys who are veteran coaches, longtime coaches, who've been my friends, and they've called and given me advice, and all those guys have said to me, hey, in the end of the text, almost every one of them is the same. Don't forget to enjoy the ride as you go. And Mick said that. He goes, hey, I'm going to help you, but trust yourself and enjoy the ride as you go. And the daily grind is not always fun, but that's part of it. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.